Welcome to one more game presented by Hoosier Pickleball. I am your host, Matt Brandenberger, and no, that is not my wife. I won't use any adjectives like beautiful or good looking or even festive, but I'll just say my friend and pickleball buddy, coworker. That's right, Ace Pickleball representing here. Ryan Keirns. Welcome, Ryan, to one more game, but we got a little spin-off here. Good to have you along.
Thanks.
So we've been talking about what to name this, and we'll kind of describe what we're going to be doing here in a second. But to name this right off the bat, several things have been thrown around. If Abby were in here, she would tell you that the name of this is going to be Off the Tape, which is an okay name. But I'm taking the liberty, at least for now, the name of this little spin-off podcast is going to be Bang Dink Ow. And I'm going to credit Dave and Natasha Nergi for inspiring this name, giving me the confidence to name it this. It's one of those like hashtag IYK, if you know, you know. But this is going to be a fun podcast, but it's going to be informative as well. So what we're doing here is Ryan and I are going to take your tapes and we are going to dissect them looking at the good, the bad, and the ugly. So Ryan, thoughts? Are you excited to be here?
Excited to be here. And just disclaimer, it was a little bit ugly this week, but it was game one for all four of us. So
that's right. So in order to make this podcast work, we are going to need your help. You as the listener, you as the viewer. We want you to send us tapes. We want you to give us video. It just has to be on YouTube. If you can't get on YouTube and you just have a video file, we can talk about maybe putting it through Google Drive or sharing it through Dropbox or something. But easiest would be to send us a link to your YouTube video so that we can do this for you. I'm the guinea pig this week. We chose a game that Ryan and I played against each other in I'll say a quote unquote high level guys group that may not look so high level. This week it had some ugly points to it. Mine were the ugliest. So I said, hey, let's look at my game. You help me dissect what we can do better and we'll go from there. So in the future though, we need you as the listeners, the viewers, to send us your tapes to hoosierpickleball@gmail.com. And we will choose one each week that we do this. We're kind of thinking this will be on an every other week rotation with Abby and I's normal One More Game podcast. But Bang Dink Ow, or BDO, as I like to say, will be kind of on a rotating basis. So we're going to jump into it. Ryan, you got any other thoughts before we get going?
No, I guess we might have to apologize for the name rather than apologizing for the net cord. So
there you go. Right? Yeah, Off the Tape. Sorry, but maybe at least my wife when she sees this, because as of 10 minutes ago, when I told her I'm going to record this with Ryan, she still thought it was going to be off the tape. So I kept on saying off the cord too, which didn't even make sense. So, anyways, we're BDO. Here we go. Let's do this. Again, though. It's going to be, if you're listening to this, we're going to encourage you to go to our YouTube channel at One More Game. That's number one, then More Game Pod. Search for that on YouTube. You'll find it. You'll be able to see what we're talking about. Might make it a little bit easier, but we hope this will be informative no matter what level you are. And again, each week we'll kind of set it up by saying who's playing, what levels they are. But no matter what level someone's playing at, I think you'll be able to kind of glean some things to help your game. Okay. All right. That's the setup. I think what we'll do is we will take a quick break while we set up the video. Then when we come back, we will dive right into it. So we'll see you right after this.
Parents, your teen driver or soon-to-be driver looks to you for guidance on safe driving techniques.
Drive Alive is an organization dedicated to young driver safety. Visit our website at drivealiveindiana.org to view videos designed to facilitate conversations between parents and their teen drivers.
Topics include getting to know your vehicle, understanding car insurance, simple car maintenance, and what to do if you just had an accident.
Visit drivealiveindiana.org to learn more. All right, welcome back to Bang Dink Ow, courtesy of Hoosier Pickleball and the One More Game podcast. I'm here with Ryan Keirns, and we're ready to jump in. So you see the video we have up here. So let me start out by saying the 4 players that we have. In the foreground here is Josh Walker. He is my partner there. You can see I'm in the black. Josh is in kind of the blue and pink.
Josh on the right side in the receiver's position.
There you go. That's a better way to describe it. Thanks, Ryan. And Josh, a 5-0 player, very solid, solid game all around. Considered one of the best players in the area for sure. On the other side of the net, we're facing off against Jackson, who's getting ready to serve it. And
he's in the blue shirt.
There you go. And Ryan is in the red shirt. So 4 solid players. Again, maybe in this match, you might not see our full potential, but we chose a match specifically where we could highlight some of the things, especially that I could do better. But I think all 4 of us would say it wasn't our best game. So apologies to Jackson and Josh. I did get their permission. If you do send us a video, make sure that you get everybody's permission before you send it to us. But we're going to start out really kind of by roasting Jackson here. So as we get this point started, this match started, this was the very first point of the day, and Jackson served it right in the net. He stares at the ceiling, contemplates all kinds of things, I'm sure. Wasn't real thrilled with himself, but hey, sometimes that happens, right?
Yeah, I think he threw in the proverbial, why don't you serve first, Josh?
You have to say that every time. So actually, this first rally wasn't bad. We kind of had a couple high balls to start and then settled.
My backhand goes into the net, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So you guys each gave us a little mistake to begin with. Josh served at 102. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think this point then we had a decent rally. No, that's the very next one, I think, is when we kind of get into a decent rally. On that one, I'd like to see me move in a little bit quicker. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree with that. You're kind of hanging on the transition zone a little bit.
Yeah. All right. So now
we're getting close. We're getting close to your error on the opening, if that's what you're thinking, or is this the miscommunication?
Yeah, I think this is a miscommunication there.
Yeah.
And so right there, you see the ball coming into my foot. Really, you'd probably like to see Josh slide over and take that with his forehand, right?
Yeah, I'd probably like to see Josh take it with his forehand. The ball was in the middle of the court to Jackson's backhand, so he doesn't really have as much line responsibility due to the angle coming from Jackson's backhand.
Yeah.
So that's I would say that's his middle, and he's a little bit further forward than you are at that point.
Yeah. Now, in Josh's defense, though, I'll take the bullet and say part of the reason Josh probably doesn't jump on it is I'm leaning into it, right? So
yeah,
this is gonna be a theme tonight as we listen to that. Is Matt, move over? Look how much space there is, and that kind of causes Josh to kind of hesitate, and then we kind of almost a miscommunication. We survive it though, but what could have been a more attackable ball, we kind of get into a more of a rally, and then I make another mistake in the net. So right now, I think we've had 5 net balls. I've had 2. Everybody else has had 1 to begin this awesome match.
Yeah.
All right. So next points. Let's just kind of look through these again. Look how far over I am. Let me rewind that again. Where would you tell our viewers or those listening, the player on the right side, where should my position be, assuming 2 right-handed players?
So in that particular situation, I don't think I minded your positioning too much, because the ball goes cross court to my forehand, which means that Josh on the left side definitely has line responsibility, in addition to, he's still hunting middle with his forehand. Yeah. I think you're in actually a pretty good position. You're hugging middle and daring me to go wide. So you're taking away the 2 highest percentage shots. Of Josh has got down the line, you kind of got middle, and you're daring us to go cross court.
Which you do, and then you even leave a little high, right? I mean, so you're kind of saying that the setup was good, the finish was not.
Correct.
Like, overswing there, and you're smart enough to let it go, and you guys get that point. So I like it. I like what you said there. I'm going to rewind that to just watch that point again. So you're saying you kind of like me hugging middle there.
Yeah, so right there's my forehand. So it went right to my forehand just a second. Granted, it was below net level, so it really wasn't attackable for me to like speed it up down Josh's line. However, with the ball being outside, he has to have the line because somebody's got to have the line, and he's right there.
Yeah. Now,
so in this case, in this particular case, I actually like your positioning of shading middle. When we get to a few other points where the ball's in front of you, you've maybe shaded a little too much middle.
Yeah. Now, even though right there, Jackson hit that shot, right? It's coming from an angle there and he goes middle. Would you want me, though, staying out of that and letting Josh take that with his forehand?
Yeah, because you should be a little more toward the line in that case, because once again, the ball's you're straight on with the ball, so you have to get the down the line responsibility. Josh has middle, and we're allowing Jackson to go angle because Josh will have plenty of time to recover.
Yeah. Let me fast forward a little bit to this next point that we have. It's going to start right here, and it's been kind of hard on myself to begin with, but I did a pretty nice job on this point of staying down the line there. I did two or three shots to Jackson's backhand and then caused a mistake by him. Jackson has a very strong backhand, but in this case, I was able to win the point because of the fact that I stayed with an area that was more loose for him, right?
Yeah, that was a good point on your part, because right here I start kind of creeping up.
Yeah.
But the ball you take is off the bouncer a little bit lower, so it's not like you can really go at me, the up guy, and you kept it at Jackson, the deeper guy, and you kept your ball deep and deep and deep, and Jackson never really got up into the transition zone. Even he was pinned back behind the baseline.
Yeah. Talk about this point though, and again, probably the theme again for tonight. Am I too far middle? Josh gets pulled a little wide there.
So right here, you're probably okay.
Yeah, but then this is Josh's shot's a little high, so I need to recognize that a little sooner, right? And try to guard my line a little bit more. Is that
probably a little bit. Although when you slide, you typically slide in such a way to counter with your forehand. You don't counter a lot with your backhand when you slide. So maybe that was on your mind, that you were trying to give him the forehand half of your body, so that would be your counter, and he got it a little more into your body or your backhand side.
Right. This is one where I got kind of lucky on, right? I think you talked about my serving position not being ideal. Or is this my return position maybe? I get kind of pushed the middle, and should I split step here? I kind of get lucky and I'm on the run. You actually hit a great shot down at my feet, and I'm able to just kind of block, volley it up, and get it down to Jackson's feet and kind of catch him coming in as well. So
yeah, I was going to say, Hoyle would probably say, yeah, you missed the split step in there, Matt. But the end result was what you wanted, because you got the ball at Jackson's feet and you neutralized it.
Yeah. All right, let's skip ahead a couple points here. On this one, I was going to say another example of me getting a little too far up the line and leaving that exposed. I got to trust my partner in that situation, right?
Yeah, it's a good shot by Jackson. Not to take anything away from him, but the ball is in front of you to your right. So you got the line. Josh has got the middle, and if Jackson hits cross court, you either tell him nice shot, or it'll buy Josh time to recover and get there. Especially Josh moves really well and would cover about any cross court on that.
Yeah. And just looking at that shot, that is a really nice shot by Jackson, because he really disguises it. Because when you look at this, this here right before he hits the ball, his paddle, he's got his body aimed as though he's going to go cross court. I'm not in a horrible position, really. I just have to be cognizant of my line. If he does hit that kind of open shot where he just kind of leaves it open and goes down the line, I got to be able to cover that.
Yeah, he takes it off the bounce, so it's not an easy ball to go down the line with over the high part of the net. But what I would probably like to see, your right foot is probably almost like in the middle of your half of the court. I'd
Yeah.
probably almost like to see more like your left foot in the middle of your half of the court to get a little better coverage down the line. Plus, that gives Josh maybe a little more room then with his forehand, and you don't have to probably take anything with a backhand unless it's at your left foot.
Right. So it's kind of a good rule of thumb that if I'm on the right side and if I extend my paddle as far as I can to the right, it should come pretty close to touching like the extended line. Is that?
I think that way. Yeah, when the ball's down the line, you have to be that close to the line.
Yeah.
Obviously, when the ball's cross court from you or diagonal from you,
Yeah.
you're going to be in a different position. But when the ball's
Yeah.
down the line, that's a good rule. I mean, you could start getting specific about, well, how high is the ball to your opponent? You know, the higher up it is, the closer you got to be to the line. But you know, like I said, one, that was a great shot by Jackson, but two, probably another step over would have been better for you.
Right. I feel like when I first started playing, one of the kind of unwritten rules or kind of a rough guide to go by, maybe it's a good way to say it, was you almost, when you're at the kitchen line, you almost want to be straight across from the person that you're playing. So if they slide over, you need to slide over. And in that case, Jackson was a little bit closer to the line than I was. I had slid more middle. I wasn't really following that rule, if you will.
Yeah, you would want to mirror their movement.
So this one again, the few highlights that I did have, I'm gonna bring up here, but I like what I did here with my drive. I try to drop more, but I noticed you hitting, and you've been doing this a lot lately, by the way, is you have a very nice two-handed backhand, and I think sometimes you're just practicing for your singles game, right? But you really drove that return, and I knew that I had a little bit more time to get you coming up. Now you did split step, but my drive being just over the net and with a little bit of roll, it wasn't about the pace. It was more about how close it was to the net. And as you had just split stepped, it caused you to leave the ball in the net there.
Yeah, that was a good drive on your part. And as you accurately pointed out, because I drove the return, you know, the faster the ball gets to you, the faster it could potentially come back to me. Despite a quasi split step, I probably wasn't in as good a position as I would have liked to be in for a drive that was like at my knee level there.
Right. This was the very next point then, and I think we had fallen behind. I don't remember the exact how this worked, but I think we were behind a little bit early in this game, and we had a little bit of a run here because we started driving the ball. And just as from a strategy standpoint, I think that can be a good way to mix it up. If you're not scoring points on the drops or you're trying to play one way, just simply switching it up. You know, I had the drive that got a point, and then the very next one, Josh drives it again and is able to force the ball just wide for you. So.
Yeah, another error on my part, and also with playing against Jackson too, it's hard to make a drop actually hit the ground on him with his length too. So that's another challenging thing. You'd think you might hit a pretty good drop, but he's able to kind of flick it out of the air with his backhand, and then you're back trying to hit a fifth shot drop or seventh shot drop because you have to hit a darn good drop to get in.
Right. Jackson's about 6'2" and just very lanky and long. Good point. This is a pretty good point here, but man, this is what I noticed. Watch when I play this in slow motion. I actually read Jackson going up the middle very well, and I'm sitting on it. Now, this is a position I'm in quite a bit where I get body bagged, bang, dink, ow, right? But I read this one well. But
you're sliding to hit forehand. Yeah.
Yep. So I slide to hit forehand, but Jackson, obviously being a high level player, and I put it right on his paddle, that helped too. But look, Ryan, if you can see where my position of my paddle is, I've swung so far through the ball. I did not stay compact. And that's something, after watching this film, I want to go back and really work on when I hit the ball, staying compact. Because now I have to bring the paddle all the way from across my body back and I actually get back to it, but I'm just out of control. And then I hit it too hard and it goes flying out. Whereas if I would have stayed compact, hit it hard back, but then had my paddle right there, I might have been able to really attack it and end that point.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, your initial follow through almost looked like a tennis forehand ground stroke. It was,
Right.
coiled around your neck pretty much. But yeah, like you said, if with a shorter backswing, I think the ball you got back would have been a ball you could potentially put away or at least get down at Jackson's feet.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of net balls in this game.
Yep.
That had by all, it was not our prettiest, as we've mentioned. Let me fast forward to another point here.
Yeah, maybe another reason why the drive was the play, since the thirds weren't very good.
Right. So what did you see here? This is, again, as we do week to week here, you're going to see me get body bagged more than one time. But you set this up pretty nicely. And I guess what confuses me here is I feel like I'm in decent position. I'm knees bent. I'm down in a ready position. You've even kind of disguised it. Like I think you're going to dink it. And then you just sped up and you went left shoulder. And look, I guess I am opening up. I should be probably staying closed with that and trying to backhand block it. Is that what you would say?
Yeah, but I also saw that your left foot was pretty much on the center line. And once again, the ball was in front of you. I wasn't necessarily, it was a forehand. I wasn't necessarily down the line, but it's probably a situation where I'd probably like, from your perspective, you to be 1 to 2 more steps to your right. And that way, if I do go to that spot as quick as Josh's hands are, he's probably countering that with his forehand.
Yeah. Yeah. Or it's flying out, right?
Or it's flying out. Yeah. I've been known to miss a speed up long.
Right. But yeah, it was well timed, well positioned. I guess that's the theme, right? Just I knew, and truth be told, like I'm more of a left-handed player. It's something I need to improve on, is being on the right-hand side. But when I am on the right-hand side, man, I sure want to squeeze middle. It's just I'm like a magnet for that middle.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of times the mentality and just a lot of other sports or activities is like, when a ball or something is down the middle, it's kind of like whoever gets it type of thing, or first person to make a move on it. And so sometimes the instinctual, like, oh, I'm a half a step closer than the guy on the left side of this ball. Maybe I need to get it. And it's not always the right play in pickleball. If you're a righty combination, a lot of times leaving that middle ball to the left side person is going to be the better play.
Absolutely. All right, this might have been our best point, at least so far. But some good counters back and forth, then a ATP save, and then back into some pretty good play. I want to go back and look at this again. It kind of started fast. Probably a missed hit on my part. Nice think there. I don't love that, me going down the line there, especially as strong as your Tui has gotten there. You're kind of sitting on that. And if I'm going to do that, I left it kind of high. I get lucky with that block going wide. When Jackson gets out there, Josh saved it. And,
Josh is really good and really quick at reading when an ATP is going to happen. I mean, I know a lot of us play enough matches now that we might think it could happen, but he tends to be really quick to get out there. And that was kind of almost like a busted play, you might almost say. It wasn't your typical ATP off of a cross court dink rally. You kind of got jammed on a counter, and it slid out at a sharp angle, and all of a sudden Josh is busting out there to recover.
I'm gonna go forward a couple more points to this one here. This is one, again, I know Josh leaves his dink a little high, but looking at it from my perspective, is there anything you'd want to see me doing different here? I'm pretty upright.
Yeah, I mean, you are pretty upright, but once again, like you can see, I'm contacting it above net level, 14 feet away from you.
Right.
You actually are sitting backhand and got a paddle on it. It's probably a ball that was high enough I could have gone, behind you down the line. There were,
Yeah.
a lot of options, kind of pick your poison. And I honestly, I think it was one of the rare occasions maybe where you're a little hung out to dry and
Yeah.
didn't have much you could do.
So this is where I think you guys have, I think we've kind of gotten a lead, and then you guys have a nice little comeback here as well. Again, this is one area, if this is you instead of me on this side, this is one of the strengths of your game, is I get this ball here. I don't even know who got a paddle on that. Is that me?
I think that's you.
Yeah. My paddle is up again. It's going away from my body. You, I feel like, do so much of a better job absorbing those. You're like kind of just thinking, is that a mentality? Is that a mindset? When you have that ball coming at you in that transition zone with speed, you're just thinking reset the whole time. Is that fair?
Yeah, I would say that's pretty fair. I mean, just as I drop my thirds probably 95, 99% of the time, I think 95, 99% of the time when I anticipate a speed up at me, I'm thinking reset as opposed to counter.
Yeah.
And especially in that situation, there when I'm on the right side, I'm also a little more defensive minded and probably a step or two off the line. It looked like in that last one too, you were in the process of kind of moving your feet back as you were trying to reset too, so that didn't have kind of a stable framework. Even if you would have hit it a little more cleanly, it might have been a tough ball to reset.
Yeah. And I'll fast forward a little bit here to another point that I had here. Again, I'm on the left side. I like the left side, but I should have, after a decent drop there, I caused Jackson to have to hit the ball up. I really didn't gain any ground, right? So I should have, let me rewind it. I should have gotten in after hitting this initial shot. I only took about one step in. I'm still behind the baseline. Then I hit it in the net. So to me, that's just one where I need to do a better job of anytime I hit a third or a fifth or a seventh, and I need to be moving in at least a step or two, not taking my time too much. And I think it also kind of goes hand in hand with what I've talked about, where the bigger my swing is, the less time I have to start moving. If I can stay more compact and be moving, not as I'm hitting it, but using the momentum of my swing to start going in a little bit more, I can get in a little quicker.
Yeah, and not to get too nitpicky, that was probably also a chance for Josh to get in a little bit too, since the ball was to Jackson's backhand. Chances are he was coming back more to you rather than like an inside out type thing to Josh.
Yeah, so
normally he's pretty quick to the line too. Normally he would have been, he could have been in a little closer too. Not that it would have necessarily maybe impacted your shot, but it might just given Jackson a little bit more to think about, and he might have had to go a little more toward the line or flatten out his fourth rather than potentially float it deep, because there was no threat of Josh's backhand picking it off.
Yeah. Here's another example again of maybe not exactly. This is one that I think was demoralizing for me. I felt like I had a great shot on you as you're coming in, and I put it right where I want it to be, right on your left toe, and you get a two-hander on it and kind of pop it up, and it's one of those that I'm like, it's coming at me, and I'm like, this feels like it could be long, but there's no way it was. So I just get anything I can on it and just set you up for the put away then. So.
Yeah, that might have been a tougher ball. even if you were ready, just because it was going to be a high backhand, I mean, it wasn't going to be probably a guaranteed sitter, but it would have definitely been a ball you could have gotten back down at my feet again and probably been set for the next shot.
This next stretch, I just wrote down a lot of crappy shots. So I'm going to fast forward almost another minute, and I only had a couple more highlights on here. Again, I'm highlighting. I got stuck on the right-hand side quite a bit in this game, which is a struggle for me.
Yeah, real time. I didn't really realize it, and I guess going back, there's no way I'd remember what our scores were at the various side outs. But yeah, watching the video, I was like, wait a second, Matt's on the right again. Matt's on the right again. So you guys must have been odd an awful lot.
Yeah, because I usually do play on the left with Josh, and even in tournaments and whatnot, and that has more to do with how strong Josh is with his backing. This was another position that I feel like I think Jackson actually made a comment on Facebook regarding this point right here, where I am speeding up to the middle. I mean, this was just an absolutely poor shot that is never going to be a good one. I essentially am just handing you the point, and it's set up because here's the return, and I like to squeeze middle here to show middle and then come back to the right a little bit. But the problem is I don't go back far enough, right? And then
your right foot's basically in the middle of your box at this point. Yep. Your right foot, not your left.
And that's really where you would want to see my left foot more in the middle of the box is what you
Well, said. I mean, I guess I'll rephrase that, I guess. So like initially it looks like, so this ball goes to Josh, which your positioning is probably fine now because it went to Josh, so you shaded middle, but now it's gone back over the net to Jackson, who's in front of you. And granted, he's playing it up off his shoelaces or on a short hop. But now your left foot's even to the left of the center line. Your left foot's to the left of the center line right now.
Yeah.
And that would be in a pop-up middle in that situation. Josh would have been all over that. So there was probably no need for you to be hunting middle in that scenario.
Right, because Josh, trust your partner, right? I mean, it's like Josh's forehand's there. I don't need to be hanging out that much in the middle. The fact that my left foot is over the center line's downright embarrassing. But yeah, so Jackson sees all that space and just kind of pops one here. Now, I can get out there and I do slide out, but here this is just like needs to be just a surrender dink, right? Just reset it. Yep. Get back to neutral. But I try to do some sort of weird hero shot. I don't know if I was thinking maybe a lob and it was just a misplaced lob, or if I was trying to do a hard forehand. Either way, not smart. Just reset that dink and get back to neutral.
Mm-hmm.
So. And that was about all she wrote. This might have been the end of the game. I feel like we even ended it poorly with her. And there it is. Shake hands. Good job, guys. The net says thank you for being done with that game because it was pretty brutal. But yeah, I mean, like this was so helpful for me personally. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I think that'll pull us back up together. But it really was helpful for me to see on video all of these things and to really kind of, I record myself quite a bit, but to go through it like kind of analytically looking and notice some of those trends of how often I was squeezing middle. And I mean, that next time I go out tomorrow morning when I'm out there, I'm going to be really thinking about when I'm on the right side, and maybe I'll even stack, so I'll practice this more. Is to be more at least at the neutral position on the right side, if not even hugging the line a little bit more and giving my partner more of their forehand, assuming it's not Natasha or another lefty.
Yeah.
So that's probably my biggest takeaway. What would you say after watching that you would give?
No, I was a little surprised too, because I know a lot of times on the right side, which you've mentioned is the side you don't play as often as the left side, with mixed doubles and even a lot of your men's games. But Yeah, I was actually surprised too at how close you were to the middle, and even real time and trying to like look for my openings or whatever like that. I don't think I noticed it as much as I did on video. Just exactly where you were on some of those situations. So
So what
yeah, it
you're
was a little
saying,
eye opening for me. Well, it was just eye opening for me too. It just
right?
goes to show that even though I'm fairly analytical and trying to figure out where spots might be in certain situations, I was like, wow, he's a little bit more off the line than I thought.
Yeah. So what you're saying is the next time we play together, you're gonna hit it behind me like all the time.
Yeah.
I've really exposed myself now. Maybe this wasn't such a great idea. No, yeah, I really found it helpful and I enjoyed it. I mean, I hope you had fun with this as well, but um, we'll definitely look forward to doing this again.
No, thought it was good, and just a good recommendation for everyone that you might think you know what you're doing or what you're thinking, but you don't. And just even times where maybe you're in the right position, horizontally left to right, maybe
Mhm.
you notice that you're still like 6 inches from the kitchen line when you can be up a little bit closer to the kitchen line, because in a match, you can't go down and look at your feet.
Yeah.
um you don't know without video. You're like, shoot, I still have another 6 inches. I can be up on that line, and that ball is just a little bit more attackable if I'm up on that line.
Absolutely. That's a great tip for no matter the level, and especially for some of our beginners that are listening. I see that more than anything is those inches matter, right? I mean, we say, get close to the line, but the closer you are to the line, every inch matters. And if you can be there and can be hanging over the line, you bring a lot more attackable balls into play. That's a great point.
Yeah, I'm only 5'9" on a good day, so I need to be at the line. I'm not 6'2" with the wingspan.
Yeah, no kidding, man. There sure is an advantage. And 6'2", I feel like that's like the perfect height too. Much
Yeah.
taller than you got to really get down there for some of those dinks, but man, I'd I'd take a couple more inches for sure. But yeah, this was great. I hope you listeners out there have learned something. And like we said, please send us your tapes. We'd love to have several of them to choose from. And if we don't choose yours one week, maybe we'll choose in another. But I think this could really be insightful. And if nobody sends us anything, then I guess we're gonna have to pick your game apart next time, Ryan. Maybe I'll learn something from you. Um, and a quick plug for Ace Pickleball as well. As you mentioned, we are co-workers. It's now official, so Ryan has joined the Ace team. I'm really excited to have him on board. And one of the great benefits, and I don't think we've highlighted this enough, but we're going to be using the PlaySite app. And so one of the perks of being a member, and in all honesty, it's for everybody, even if you're just dropping in, you can download the PlaySite app.
Yeah.
Yep, that was easy to say. And you can record your game and you can have that video just right there. So, man, once we get that going, it'll be easy to have people send us their games all the time. But it's a great way to get better. I mean, film session, there's a reason when Ryan and I have both been coaches in our former lives as well, and there's a reason you watch tape and analyze your opponents and analyze yourself and see what you can do better. It's a great way to improve.
Hmm.
So,
And conversely too, we were mentioned getting right up on the line. Recently, some of our friends have you know pointed out like, hey, let us know if you think we're over the line foot faulting, which
mm,
is a tricky proposition when you're just in a game with four people, because you're watching the ball. You don't want to get hit. You want to watch where you're moving. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen anybody just barely foot fault. They've had to like fall into the kitchen for me to notice it as an opponent.
yeah, that's a great point. And we have said that, and I was playing this evening just kind of in a fun thing and just was watching that in a game and saw multiple foot faults. And it's when you get to a tournament time and there's a ref there and they're calling it, the last thing you want to realize is at that point that you've had a bad habit of stepping over the line on some of those. So, and again, with Ace, the interesting thing, the camera angle is like more wide. So most of the time, just like the video we just went through, we're watching from like one end of the court. And so it's kind of hard sometimes to tell like if someone's foot is really over the line or not. But with the angle that the cameras are set for ace, they're all like the wide shot. And so you're going to see the kitchen line very easily and be able to tell then. So we'll see who the real offenders are of that. I have a feeling we all do it from time to time and don't even realize it. So for sure. All right, Ryan, thank you. I enjoyed this. Hope you did too. And hope all you listeners out there did as well.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
All right, we'll do it again. Until my wife makes me change the name, this has been Bang Dink Ow, and we will see you next time. Have a great day. As always, we want to thank our sponsors, Hoosier Pickleball, Drive Alive, Indiana, Pickleball Rocks, Ace Pickleball, and Wheelan Real Estate. Reach out to Abby B for all your buying, selling, investing, and other real estate needs. In addition, a big thank you to the Ace Pickleball Studio in the world-famous Spiece Fieldhouse. Please make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts or find us on YouTube at One More Game Pod. That's the number One More Game Pod. Hit that subscribe button and be sure to leave us a 5-star rating to help us spread the love. You can also find us on Facebook and TikTok at Hoosier Pickleball for all kinds of fun, tips, tricks, and other family shenanigans. Thanks again for listening, and we will see you next time.